Hello, this is Brandon P.T. Davis. I am a theatrical scenic designer, and today I'm going to share with you a Vectorworks tutorial about the user interface. We're going to start off by opening the software. I have the software here on my desktop. As you notice, the Vectorworks software takes time to open. This is normal because the software is very large. As the software opens, you will notice that the Vectorworks template, user template, here is set as a default that says do not use this sheet. It recommends to close the file, click the file, and select an existing file or open a template. My students at UTEP have been provided with a specific template for them to learn the software. So now I'm going to close this file. To open the file, I'm going to go to File, New. And under here, I have the UTEP Basics template. I'm going to press OK. Now that we have the proper Vectorworks template installed, I'm going to speak with you about the Vectorworks user interface. Like many software programs, the Vectorworks user interface has a menu bar across the top. Items such as File, Edit, Tools, Text, View, Window, Cloud, and Help you may have seen in other software programs. Vectorworks will use these similar but also differently than other programs you may be used to. We will talk specifically about these menu items as we move forward. We also have the Modify, Model, Spotlight, and Event menu items. These items are more specific to Vectorworks. On the left side here, we have the basic tool palette. The basic tool palette is a combination of tools that you use most frequently throughout the Vectorworks software. This would include things like the square tool, 2D line tool, measuring tools, and annotations. We'll speak more specifically about the basic tool set in the next video. The Attributes palette allows you to edit and modify specific attributes within the 2D objects that you create in Vectorworks. The Toolset palette, this palette is very specific to the Vectorworks workspace that you're using. There is a variety of tools that you can use throughout the Vectorworks software, and we will speak specifically to how they apply to theatrical design during the course of these tutorials. We also have a snapping palette. The snapping palette modifies the way that you interact with the object through Vectorworks. We can move the snapping palette right now into the top left corner. We can also change where we have all the palettes in Vectorworks so that we can work in our most effective manner. My preference is to have the workspace configured as shown here. To the right side, we have the Object Info palette. The Object Info palette provides information about objects that you're working with in Vectorworks. I will draw a rectangle to show you some of the functionality of the Object Info palette. So here, we can see class, layer, and plane information, as well as width and height. We can modify the rotation of the object as well. There is also data information, and if we're working with 3D objects, we can modify the textures that are applied to the object through the render options in the Object Info palette. Below the Object Info palette is the Navigation palette. The Navigation palette is a way to navigate through many aspects of the software. We have our classes here, layers, sheet layers, viewports, saved views, and file references. On the top, we have the Resource Manager. The Resource Manager is a way to store lots of information throughout Vectorworks. Resource Manager items include gradients, hatches, images, line types, materials, record formats, RenderWorks backgrounds, RenderWorks styles, RenderWorks textures, a resource folder, roof styles, script, sketch styles, slab styles, text style, tiles, wall style, and worksheet. At the center, we have the Vectorworks workspace, this large square in the center. The Vectorworks workspace by default is in top plan view. Top plan view is also the 2D view. We also have a ruler on the X and Y axis. And at the center, we have 0, 0. In order to explain the X, Y, and Z axis and our views, I will show you these arrow symbols that I've created. Thinking of the green north and south as the Y axis and red east and west as the X axis. At the center on the ruler, we have 0, 0. It is recommended that your models be as close or on 0, 0 as possible when creating your model. Straying too far away from 0, 0 will affect Vectorworks' ability to render the view in perspective. Now I will go to a right isometric view and show you the axis. We have the green axis, the north and south, as our y-axis. The red, east and west, as our x-axis. And the z-axis is up and down. If we look at the ruler, again, from this view, we have east as positive numbers, 4 inches, 8 inches, further on it's infinite. And if we look towards the west from 0, we go into negative numbers, -4, etc. The same applies both to north and south and the z-axis, up and down, negative and positive numbers. The user bar across the top offers some of the same functionality as the navigation palette. Here we can toggle through the classes and change the active class that we're using. We can toggle through our design and sheet layers. We can also change our screen and layer plane views. Saved views will be stored here. These items here affect how you zoom into Vectorworks. So I can zoom to page, or I can zoom to the object. We can also zoom in with this functionality. This is a numeric way to view the zoom functions. These are the working plane views, which we will talk more about when we get into 3D. But we can toggle through the views using this slider. So here is top, right, left. You can also use the number pad and change the views as well. This icon here will change to your previous and next views that you are looking at within your Vectorworks file. This icon is the rotate plan. This would be used if you were working in 3D and wanted to adjust the ground plan to a different view. You can also modify the perspective with this drop down, and the render settings can be modified with this drop down. The view bar located here will be changed depending on the tools that you have accessed. And this palette here will give you access to shortcuts from both document preferences and Vectorworks preferences. This concludes the Vectorworks tutorial on user interface. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you.